Nightmarishly hot to Jordan is
70 degrees.
normal room temperature.
Yeah,
No,
that's
It was nightmarish.
Billy is
I'm
on the same page.
right on
Thank
the
you
same
very
page.
much. Speaking of being on the same page, guys, I'm going to get the date right. It's Wednesday, May 22nd.
Are you sure?
It's definitely sure. I just looked at the date thing. Unless my date thing's wrong. My date thing, I mean my computer. Anyways, it's season 2, episode 4 of Blisspoint, a podcast and website serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Mr. Billy Gatewood.
Hello.
And Mr. Paul Kolb.
Salutations.
Salutations. Speaking of salutations, we're going to talk about what we've been listening to. Give us a good send-off before we enter the afterlife. And what we've been listening to encapsulates the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, and consequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. And first off, we have 5 other bands and movements at Black. Was it 5? No, it was 4.
It was
4.
3.
3, yes.
3 plus movements.
There's so much
3
blacked
plus
out on
movements.
this show schedule.
It's true. There's
All I
not
can
a-
make out are the words grassy knoll and
It's been redacted. Yeah. Russia is in there. Yeah, it's movements. Black
Yeah.
Cat. How are we feeling? A week on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we want to start from the beginning of the show, Drug Church was awesome.
Drug Church was very good.
Yeah.
They sounded really good.
They sounded really good. They're super entertaining.
And I was happy that they seemed to have a good reception. as
Yeah,
well.
they did. I mean,
People
the
were
place
into
was
them.
packed when we walked
Yes.
in for an
Very,
opener
very packed.
of a 4-bill show.
Yes.
Like it was packed when
Yeah,
we walked in
for sure.
And I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't expecting much from them. I don't necessarily like their recorded stuff, but
Yeah, same.
put on a great show.
Yeah, they were really good. Trash Boat, who I don't usually like, I thought put on an excellent show.
Trash Boat was great.
They were
Their
very, very
sound
good
was
live.
garbage.
Yes. You could barely hear them at all.
I see what you did there.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, yeah, it's trash.
Jordan doesn't like Trash Boat, so he's going to see him maybe 5 more times.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, you should.
I will probably see them open for a band that I
yeah,
enjoy at
probably.
some point or another.
I'd say the crowd was most into them.
For sure.
Out of the whole
Hands
night.
down. Like them or Boston Manor, I
Oh,
think.
God.
Boston Manor was trash.
Boston Manor was trash. Their
And they
new
sounded
stuff-
fine, but like none of
Their
their
new stuff is
good.
garbage,
Yeah.
and I was expecting
Wow.
maybe a third of it, maybe a quarter of it to be new stuff, and it was the opposite. It
I
was
can't stop
80%.
singing that terrible Halo song. Like it just intermittently gets stuck in my head.
It's so.
Halo.
Oh my God! It's so
Paul,
bad.
for the uninitiated, it is. I described it, and I think this is pretty accurate. If I toot my own horn, that it's as if Blink-182 and Muse had a child.
It's not
Yeah?
good.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's
not
not
good.
good. It's like noir, emo,
Yeah.
pop punk. It's
With
terrible.
real terrible lyrics,
Yeah,
but everybody there knew all the
Yes,
words to the new
they
stuff.
were really into it.
Nobody knew what the old stuff was, which was shocking
True.
to me.
Yeah, they didn't. They played what?
So it is like Muse.
Yeah, a
They
couple.
played almost 45 minutes.
They played a couple old songs.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that many.
It wasn't much. They literally 80% new songs.
And movements,
And movements.
really, really good.
Yeah.
really good.
Sounded
live.
really good.
The fucking guitarist, man,
Mm-hmm.
insane. I totally thought there was 2 guitarists in that band.
Yeah.
Like, just the lines that he's able to pull off, and all the shit that he does live. Like he does
Yeah.
really cool, like ambient kind of background stuff.
Yeah.
that I imagine has stored in a looper or something.
Yeah.
But I did see him creating some of those live and just constantly switching out guitars and like just super, super good.
And did you hear the bit? Not only is he the only guitarist, but right before they went on tour,
Yes.
broke his index finger. Had to relearn all the parts with just 3 fingers.
Because he does a lot of finger picking stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool.
It was
and
awesome.
I thought they sounded amazing.
Yeah.
So very good. And sleeper hit, I think.
Oh,
Probably
please.
one of my favorites of the
Yeah.
year. If not favorite of the year. Idols at Rock and Roll Hotel. We skipped the opener, Fontaine's DC, and showed up probably about 10 minutes before Idols went on. And I wasn't sure what to expect with that weird crowd. It's like a mix of
Yeah, that seems like that'd be the most hipster crowd
It
imaginable.
was like a lot of sweaty dudes, but also surprisingly amount of girls there, not with husbands, but or boyfriends, but like just people
Yeah.
hanging out, and everybody loved it. Like
It's
people
like
got really into it.
80% British people.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Yeah.
real weird.
The most British people I've ever seen in a
Yep.
show.
I
in
don't
the
think I
US.
Oh, they're
heard
from
it.
England?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've real mixed feelings about that band for me.
I
'Cause sometimes I'm really
Sure.
into it. Other times it's just, what the fuck are you yelling?
It's-
What are you yelling about?
That's-
There's
his
something
thing.
about
Yeah.
the live show that just it was the funnest show I've been to in a long time.
I don't know
It
what it
was-
is. They have such an
Paul,
energy.
you would love it.
Yeah,
You would love it.
I think they.
To watch their guitarists work,
All
it's
right,
just
I'm down for.
we should go. We need to go.
We should go. They're coming
Um,
back to 9:30.
Like the greatest part about the night was how consistently the Irish guitarist in the band just kept getting off stage.
Yeah,
like
right.
would just walk off into the stage while
For-
playing. Or
For the
like,
listeners, what would you characterize their sound as?
Like post punk or like punk really is
Yeah.
just like good. Like if you think of the Clash, but add like 20 years of like grit and like angst. That's what Idols is
Yeah.
to me. Just like super loud, like very, very aggressive.
it's one of those
raw.
bands that you just can't replicate on recording.
I don't
Like-
think so.
Like
Yeah.
you just can't do it.
I think-
their energy and their live show was just something you have to see in person.
Yeah, and I was worried that like I like their use of repetition. I think the recordings are great, and I was worried if you would get bored because
There
a
was
lot of
not
their
a
songs.
dull
Okay.
moment in that
Cool.
show because I was worried about that too.
Yeah, I mean
There
they put
was-
on a good show.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the number one thing. So
Yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, they were very, very good. If you like them, or maybe even if you don't, you should check them out. So singles, not a ton of good singles this week. This first one is just a cover, but it's my favorite Sublime song and one of the few that I actually enjoy. And Miss Lana Del Rey does a very good job of covering "Doing Time." And I don't think it's like, and she doesn't change it in a meaningful way or like really do anything, but
No, but it suits her very well.
yes,
It's exactly what you imagine.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually that's a really
information.
good point. Like if you knew Lana Del Rey was doing a Sublime "Doing Time" cover, I think you could hear it in your head and immediately know that that's what it sounds like. It's very faithful to the original, but I think it's a great track.
Raise your hand if you always thought that track was called "Summertime."
Me too. Me too. I think it has been in some cases. I don't know, but yeah. So it's a great cover. Charli XCX, "I Blame It on Your Love," featuring a short verse from Lizzo. I think it's a great pop tune. Billy, you liked it?
Yeah, I did like it. I thought it was pretty solid. I think
This seems to be like gearing her up for maybe like a radio friendly release.
yeah, absolutely.
Which
She hasn't really done much of lately.
yeah, which I kind of enjoyed her like take on like weird eccentric pop music.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is it's still good. I like it.
Yeah. Lizzo's definitely wasted on this track.
Yeah. She shows up for like somebody said like 20, 25 seconds. Like it's a very, very,
I
very
don't know,
short
Billy.
verse.
She sounded pretty professional to me.
Well, she is a professional, and
I don't think she'd show up wasted.
It's true.
You're saying nobody in professional music has ever shown up wasted to do anything.
I don't remember saying that.
No, that's what I
Don't put
heard.
words in his mouth. But
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty good.
it's fun. It's a fun track. This next one was a big surprise for me. Or not a big surprise in that I know the band, but like I didn't know what to expect and like came out of it being like, holy shit, this is really cool. The band called Men I Trust. The song is Norton Commander. I don't know if they have a new record coming out or what, but just a really weird, like super hazy, funky kind of, I don't know what you would even like dream pop, but like,
yeah.
it's just like a hazy pop tune.
It's very chill, like
Yeah.
chill wave kind of electronica, and she has released a couple singles this year. I think the last like album she put out was maybe like 2015.
Oh, damn.
I think it was that long ago, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just super chill,
Bass is
summery.
really, really
good. I've always really liked her stuff. I think it's really good. I don't know if it's a band or if it's her or what, but
It's
always-
only her in the video, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna assume it's her.
Yeah, it's always pretty solid. So I'm excited to see what she's doing this year.
Yeah, I definitely if she has a record coming out, I'm gonna add it to my list. 'Cause
I wish everything in that genre would have the bass sitting that way in the
Yes.
mix.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But like I'm a bassist, so I'm biased.
Yeah,
but
I think I think it anchors the track in a way that like more often than not those songs just kind of fall into reverb or like hazy guitars and like the bass being up front, being that weird like envelope filter.
yeah, it's like a synthwah.
It's like a
sound.
like a
And
yeah.
I like
it's
what
very
you said.
weird,
It's
yeah.
like the whole track had a low pass filter on it. It's kind of just
Yeah, it's the instrumentally it's very different. So I'm excited for that. And this next one, I think is a really sweet summer track. And I'm glad you brought it to the table. Band's called Night Cafe. Song is called Please. I think you described it very well. Like they're kind of like Turnover, but definitely instrumentally more interesting.
Yeah.
Like not just doing chords for 4 minutes, which I love Turnover. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I think these guys like make it a compelling case instrumentally. At
Yeah,
least.
instrumentally it's really solid and it's really well produced and it just has a nice groove to it. Vocals could be a little better. But
Yeah, I could see myself like growing to love that. It's like music. Like,
Yeah.
I could. It's not like jarring enough to where I'm like, I don't know if I could listen to this again. It's like it fits kind of like Pine Grove in that like weird like. I don't know if I like this on a song by song basis, but I could see myself like settling into it and like really enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's just kind of I've been riding it for like a week and there's nothing I could really say that I loved about it, but nothing I could ever like discredit it with either. So.
Yeah, it's certainly not bad by any means. Speaking of not bad, we're gonna jump into shout outs. And first up, my original album of the week then got downgraded to shout outs. But I think it's worth noting that if not with the format that we have, and I didn't feel weird just providing 3 albums of the week, this probably would be one of them. Carly Rae Jepsen has a new record out called Dedication. And I think the only reason I moved it to shout-outs is it is a very, very, very good, well-produced, well-thought-out pop record.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Ariana Grande's new record without being like as sultry. Like I think Carly Rae has a very endearing quality to her that makes her music so enjoyable and so relatable. And a lot of songs about heartbreak and self-love and just really like the whole album itself is just very uplifting. It's very funky. It's very sticky. Just like really, really, really well done. And fun fact, it is Metacritic, the website's highest rated user score album of all time.
Interesting.
So like a unanimous user score of, I don't know, like above
impressive.
9. So it's no indication of the album's like actual worth, but I think it's interesting to note that you have this many people that are willing to agree on such a record like that.
Yeah.
how'd she do on Rotten Tomatoes?
Probably she's certified fresh, I imagine.
Sweet. Wait, the single we looked at from her
Party for One
many months ago.
Yes.
This is that album?
It is.
Man, she released that single early.
Yeah, so that song, I remember not liking it too much. I think in the context of the record, it's like really, really good.
Yeah.
Like I can't stop. It's stuck in my head forever now. So definitely recommend you checking it out. Mr. Paul, you brought one to the table.
Yeah, I'm going to channel my inner Billy this week.
Yeah.
A little electronic band from good old Australia. So apparently they're kind of a big deal over there now, but Crooked Colors with the European spelling, Colors. And they came out with Langata. And really, I think the only thing that sets it apart for me, they have a good sound, but I like the way that they just sample organic instruments in kind of more interesting ways.
Yeah, they kind of remind me. Do you like the XX?
Not familiar.
Okay. They kind of remind me of the XX.
Yeah,
and
kind
like
of got that
their-
like Jamie XX like traditional style.
like
It's
kind of
experimental.
shoegazy instrumental wise.
Yeah.
I think these guys are a little more upbeat for sure.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out how to describe it. So there's a lot of electronic groups that sample organic instruments. I hate that that's a thing, but like that's how people describe it. Organic instruments. But
true.
for them, where you normally hear a hook that's kind of just, let's say, a tasty guitar line that's continuous, they're clipping out like individual notes from phrases that weren't originally played together.
Sure.
So it has this
So
kind
like
of
cutting
weird,
and pasting.
yeah,
like
it's like
guitar
a
lines.
pleasantly disjointed sound.
That's cool.
But anyway,
Yeah,
I'd
that's
recommend
unique.
checking that out.
That's cool. That's very cool. And up next we have our new releases. Mr. Billy, you want to give us a lowdown on your first record?
All right. So let me introduce you to the newest member of Boy Genius.
Yes.
Half joking, but 99% serious.
Yeah, I got it.
We'll guarantee you within the next year or two, she'll probably reach that kind of level.
I hope so.
But this is Taylor Janzen. Album is Shouting Matches, and she's a 19-year-old Canadian singer-songwriter, right in the spirit of Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers.
Hit him in the feels.
And with a little kind of like Nashville
Absolutely,
sound, a little Haley Williams,
Got
maybe.
some folksy vibes
It's
on
about time Canada put out some famous singer-songwriters.
Yeah, true.
But
Who's
man,
Sinead
it's if you love that emotional singer-songwriter, clean guitar, just passionate lyrics and vocal quality. I mean, she's gonna hit it for you, and she's gonna get somewhere.
And I think
pretty
she's
soon.
different because of the like female-led indie pop records that you guys have brought, or all of us have brought to the table over the last year. I think she sets herself apart in using a lot of like folky rhythms and a lot of folky instruments. And I just thought that was a really nice touch. Like, immediately made her more interesting to me because I'm like, oh, cool. It's not just like a strumming guitar, a bass, and drums.
Yeah.
Like, there's mandolin going on in the background, and there's like actually interesting drum lines, not just like a normal, kick, snare, hi-hat kind of pattern.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you listen to the title track, Shouting Matches, I mean, that's one of the best songs I've heard in a real long time. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised and really excited to see what she does in the future.
she's very, very good. I like this record.
Cool.
I think
I'm
it's-
glad.
I think it's tasty. Mr. Paul, speaking of things that are tasty, there's no
Little tasty,
Yeah,
not
there's no-
overly tasty. So
very little.
for new release, I'm going with the new Wu-Tang Clan. They did that Showtime documentary. So they came
Has
out.
anyone watched that?
I have not.
No, I think we should watch that. I really want to watch that.
Well, I remember when we first started talking about it, the concept of a bunch of extra new members was kind of not making me thrilled.
Yeah.
Because, all right, over the years, the Wu-Tang name has been a little bit watered down. Mm-hmm. Everybody who was really great from that original group, you can follow their careers individually and check out their shit.
Yep.
But it's good. It's kind of from a place of nostalgia. The fact that they have a bunch of features like Ghostface and RZA,
Ghost. It sounds as good as he's ever.
Exactly.
I think he sounds great.
I can't think of any time he does something.
Yeah.
I can't think of
For
anything
sure.
that's a dud.
Yep.
But, that won me over a little bit. You're not going to be sitting there like, oh, this is as good as Liquid Swords or 36 Chambers, but we all knew that going in.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's cool enough. I'd recommend checking out the 3 tracks. You can skip the 3
skits, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Which is just literally just interview clips from the documentary.
Yeah, it's just not a track. It's not really a skit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's
But not to undersell it. On That Shit Again's pretty good, and maybe a few others. But it's worth checking out if you have the time.
Can I read you a verse?
Please do.
I couldn't I really liked On That Shit Again. I thought it's a solid track.
Yeah.
I could not stop thinking about how terrible this RZA verse is. So I had to
This
look
has
it up.
always been more of a producer,
I had to look it up. You can't outthink the RZA. I'll make your brain shrink. My lyrics are vitamins. I go from A to zinc.
I do recall.
And yeah, I got that iron just in case the MC think he can take it to the streets, then watch his ass become extinct. Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I turn your fucking face to Jonah Hex. What the fuck?
Hey, you watch how you talk about the man with the iron fist.
What the fuck? Oh my god, dude.
He's gonna put a hole in your face
anyway.
like Jonah Hex.
If you like Wu-Tang, I think it's a solid little effort.
Yeah, I mean,
little effort.
in this case, it's mostly something to fuck
Yes.
with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up from us. And sneaking in for me at new release, and it's really just my album of the week, number 2. It's Grains of Space by Thomas William Hill, who is a noted composer. I've never heard of him before, but if you go to his website, he has literally 30 commercials and TV shows
Oh, really?
and documentaries that he's soundtracked or composed for.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, he must be pretty famous. So this is his solo record. This is not for like a Netflix show or anything. And it was based around him recording string loops and kind of working those into pieces of music. And it's absolutely stunning. Like, I think from top to bottom, just a really interesting, beautifully arranged record that has, I mean, obviously mainly based around strings, but has like the opening track, Carriages, really slowly builds with like adding more strings. And then he adds like hand claps and like some light percussion. And then like in the background, you can actually hear like, that like train warning bell. Like when a train's coming and a thing falls down, it goes ding dong, ding dong. Yeah. Like there's that in the background. Like it's really weird, but like the rest of the record doesn't have anything as eccentric, but I think it's just a really captivating, enthralling record that I just couldn't stop listening to last night. Very, very cinematic. And if you're into any of that sort of thing, or even just like a chill record to kind of throw on and like get work done to, I think it fits, and definitely will end up as one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely moody. I think I tried to listen to it like midday today.
No,
and it just didn't work. Like I could appreciate how good it was,
sure,
but it's very moody, and it definitely has a time and place. But it's very well done.
Yeah, it's not an uplifting record by any means, but it's beautiful and haunting in a way. My favorite tracks from that are Refract, Furnace, and Curvature, and some related artists: A Winged Victory for the Sullen and the Dead Texans. So like, it's like tangentially related to like post rock, like instrumental music. So
fair,
it's good. And albums of the week, Mr. Belly.
Yeah,
I'm very excited. We have not discussed at length.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this and just kind of see where we're at with it.
You wanna tell the folks at home?
Yeah, so it's The National, of course. I Am Easy to Find.
They back.
Whatever.
They back?
I think they're back.
I think so.
Just first impression.
Both literally and metaphorically.
Like I was not a fan of Sleepwell Beast. And I think this is a step back in the right direction.
I think so too. And I think I've done a lot of thinking about this record since we listened to it. And I think it finally, like after Trouble Will Find Me, the Desner brothers, like the main compositional duo of the group, started branching out and doing their own thing with like composing orchestra pieces and composing for film and doing a lot of interesting outside the alternative dad rock space. And I think this album leverages that capability the best.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it their most interesting record. Not the best, but I think it's their most interesting.
Yeah,
record.
no, it's definitely not their best record. And as the band grows, I mean, you don't expect
hater, calm down.
Keep getting better and better.
Yes.
But I was really, really happy with it overall because my expectations were pretty limited based on the last album. I had heard the first single, really enjoyed it, but didn't listen to anything since because I wanted to be surprised. And I, going through even today, trying to pick out my favorite tracks, like I was coming up with, 5. Usually it's pretty easy to pick out like your top 3 favorite tracks for me to just lift off, but it was harder for me to find my top 3 favorite because I was getting to 6, 7, 8 tracks that I'm like, man, this one's good, this one's good. As the album kept going, I was like, these are all really solid tracks. There's just a couple that I don't really like.
I can't think of anything that like is outright bad.
I don't like Hey Rosie. That's the one song.
I don't really. I should take that back. I don't like Hairpin Turns at all.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
But yeah, some of the, and that was, I have 2 chief complaints with this record. The back half I think drags a little bit for me. I think the front half, especially starting with You Had Your Soul With You, is like fucking like lightning. It just gets you in, and then it kind of backs off for a little bit. But I think that's interesting and it's not boring.
No, yeah.
But like once you hit like the 2 back-to-back 6+ minute tracks, I think it kind of grinds to a halt. And not that they're bad tracks, I just don't think they're placed very well. Yeah. And honestly, if you cut those 2 tracks, the album is 45 minutes long, and I think way more accessible, and I think it's a better record.
And you cut those 2 like under 2-minute like instrumental tracks, basically.
Yes. I like those a lot.
They're
but
good,
yes, you're
but
correct.
Like you cut the other 2 long ones. You're looking at a 12-song album, which is more than enough songs. It doesn't need to be 16 songs, and it's at a perfect length.
And I think we need to watch that companion movie because I wonder
Yeah, I
if
do wanna
those
see that.
shorter instrumental tracks
Yeah.
play more a part in
That's
the movie
fair.
than
That's
they
fair.
do the
Yeah.
actual album.
You
which
don't
is
need to put them on the album then. Keep them in the
true.
movie.
Yes, that is very true.
But,
Not to say that it,
Right.
it
And
definitely
something
doesn't.
we haven't mentioned, and I'm sure is pretty well known at this point, is just the use of female leads on
Yes.
throughout the album, and
Lots
the
of
use of
almost more female vocalists than Matt Berninger.
right,
So
and like just really cool harmonies and stuff like that, and it's really well done, and it makes the album a little bit more dynamic and exciting, so that honestly, it makes it a little easier to get through that full hour because there's a lot more going on with it.
for sure, yeah. Do you have any favorite tracks off the top of your head?
The title track is good.
Yes.
Quiet Light I enjoyed.
Did you like the faster ones? You Had Your Soul With You and Raise Your Head.
Yes, I do
Okay.
like.
Those are my favorites for sure.
Anything that they have.
Well, those are like just tried and true national tracks. Like the snare is so high in the mix.
I mean,
like,
and the drum work on this album is so good.
yes,
yeah.
very good, excellent record. My choice for this week is IGOR, surprise release from Tyler the Creator. It is. Paul, I'm glad that you brought up that you had trouble getting into it because it wasn't what you expected.
I mean, did that surprise you?
No, because I had the same problem as well. Because I heard it on Friday and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it is out in left field, I think, from his previous effort. And Flower Boy, it still remains so in my mind, his best record. Like, by far, I think top to bottom is an amazing record and finally shows his maturity, both as a producer and as a lyricist. And this record just felt so different, and it didn't feel like a good continuation from Flower Boy that I was like, I don't know if I get it.
No, and that's one of the things you appreciate about Tyler. He's always doing different things, and he tries to be multifaceted. You definitely get that flavor. Like,
yes.
you hear a lot of the same kind of synth sounds.
For sure.
Some of the exact same, like, chord progressions he tends to go with, even on his more, like, just rap-fueled tracks. But I can't say it's bad. It's good. It's just that when it's Tyler, I want there to be a lot more verses on it.
Sure.
I want it to be really a rap album.
Yeah, I
But
totally
this,
get it.
This is different.
It is, and it's kind of why I love it. I mean, it's really grown on me in the last few days. It's kind of all I listen to, and it's just, I think the production and instrumentation are incredible. Just top to bottom, he's done a really, really good job of mapping out what he wants. And it feels like he's had a way larger influence from Kanye on this record. Kanye does guest produce and guest star on one song, but he does a lot of like soul sampling and a lot of like 70s synth that reminds me a lot of Kanye. And it's got this cool, the whole thing is just kind of through this dusty filter. Like you can hear like a needle scratches in the background. And it's just, I think the production is really, really cool. And Billy, like you mentioned, there's maybe one verse in the first like 4 tracks.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of verses on this thing. It's 40 minutes, like 10 or 12 tracks, I think. And most of it is him singing or other people singing.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting artistic choice. But I think it works out really, really well. And I think as the same with Flower Boy, I think his vision for this record, I think is complete. Like I went into it expecting a lot and got something different out of it. But I was never asking like, why did he do that? Or like, why did he use this? Or why didn't he cut this? Cause this seems like filler. I feel like the whole thing is purposeful and it's tight and it's catchy and great. And I just really like it.
And honestly, thinking back to his, even like the Odd Future days, I can remember him alluding in interviews to kind of not wanting to get pigeonholed into a box as just a rapper. Like, just because you're good at it doesn't mean you have to go that route every time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So my favorite tracks, New Magic Wand, Puppet, and A Boy Is a Gun. And, Mr. Paul, do you want to deliver...
Anchor this thing?
Deliver us your album of the week?
So I was really pleasantly surprised. I was not previously familiar with Duckwrth, but I don't know, just really interesting flavor on this one. Definitely covers all the bases as far as a hip-hop album for me. But you get a lot of different... There's like brief moments of kind of a neo-soul sound. it just sounds really fresh. I like the production, even though it's not overly complex.
And he does, like, surprisingly, for someone I've never heard of, does really good hooks for himself. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to find someone that can rap and also do hooks.
And that's normally, you know, especially if it's kind of an up-and-comer, that's usually where I fall off on these things, is kind of a cheesy hook, just takes me out of it. But whether it's him or someone else, I felt like the verses are really smooth. It's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Chance the Rapper.
Yes.
Because, like I said, those kind of, like, for lack of a better description, those kind of neo-soul moments, or really just a lot of good kind of vocal lines.
Or like a darker Chance. Like,
Right.
I'll also
It's like Chance
say
with better singing.
Yes. Yeah.
it's a good album for people that don't like Chance the Rapper as well, because
Yes.
this is a good pick, Paul. I like
Thanks,
this.
Billy.
I like this album quite a
Anytime
bit.
you just get a dig in on Chance the
and
Rapper.
you know what?
That's true.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I just was saying you don't
That's
have
true.
to like
Well,
Chance
there's-
to like
yeah.
this album.
There's plenty.
Whenever I make a hip-hop pick and Billy likes it, I start to question myself.
if you actually made a good pick,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fair.
It's funny
You
that
have the right-
like Billy has been my bellwether for like, oh shit, like there's people in the world that don't like Chance. Like, I feel like Billy needs to advocate more for this viewpoint, because I feel like there's a plenty of people that are just sitting like waiting back to be like, hey, like Chance isn't that great. Like, just hey,
It's
everybody-
okay to say
for the people in
it's
the back.
okay. It's okay. And this is a good album. This is a really good album.
It's a good.
Yeah, it's called The Falling Man. Once again, artist is Duckwrth without an E or an O. And my main tracks for this were Fallback and Nobody Falls. I guess keeping with that theme. Soprano's good. There's a few moments that I'm not the most thrilled with, but overall, really liked it.
Yeah.
Recommend you check it
Did
out.
you like King King?
It wasn't my favorite.
Okay,
There were some
that
cool
was my
verses on it.
favorite, just because I like
like
the
that one too,
instrumental a
yeah.
lot. But yeah,
I'll grant you that.
yeah, it's cool. It's a neat record. Thanks everybody for showing up. That was fun. It was good. It was if you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, there'll be a playlist up on the site containing all the singles and best tracks from this week's albums. Check out us on all the places: Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Like, subscribe, be friendly, be kind to yourselves, take care of yourself.
Really selling this.
Enjoy the beautiful weather wherever you are, assuming there is weather there. People could be listening on the moon, you don't know. And visit
It still has weather.
Bliss. Does it?
It has an atmosphere.
Does the moon
does it
have
not?
weather?
I would imagine the moon.
Would you say
has
the moon has
weather.
weather other than one weather? Because there's sun, but there's no clouds. You can't get rain.
Would one weather not still be weather?
No, because weather to me implies a change of weather.
Does it?
Visit
Dr. Mishinkaku, call in and tell us.
visit bliss.house. That's bliss.haus for all of our content. And thanks everybody for not judging me.
Billy, let's get Fuddruckers.
Woo!
Jordan's not invited.
Cheese sauce.